Hi, welcome to the i2i Motorcycle Academy once again. I've been listening to people's feedback, so I've got a new mic. So I'm going to test this one out, see if it works. What I'd like to do is just talk about the way motorcycles change direction. Okay, and I've got a motorcycle tire here, which gives us an idea as to what needs to happen with the bike for it to change direction, and then it becomes simpler then to understand what do we need to do on the bike to make it change direction. So the first thing is, with this tire, if I roll it straight towards the camera here, upright, it'll go straight, perfect, lovely. And away from the camera, upright, it'll go straight, perfect. And then if I add lean, so if I lean this tire over, immediately it's no longer going to go towards the camera, it's going to start turning in the direction that I got it lean. So it'll lean off here to the left, sound, it'll eventually come back to me, perfect. And then opposite, I'm going to lean it over to the right here. Okay, so we have worked out the basics. If I wanted to go left, I'll lean it left. Now if I'd like it to go tighter circle to the left, I would lean it more. It'll do a tighter turn, fine. If I'd like it to do a wider turn, less lean, and it'll do a wider turn. Okay, so the lean angle that the tire is at dictates the radius of turn. Okay, so if I get a bit closer, we start seeing some of the detail as to why this works. So what I have is, I've got some lines on here. So if I just bring this in, I'll probably have to refocus this a bit. So if this is your contact patch here in the middle, well, when you're upright, half of your contact patch is on this side of the tire and the other half is on that side. So I like to think about it as if I was to split this tire down the middle. This side of the tire is always wanting to go in that direction, and this side of the tire is always wanting to go in that direction. But when you're upright, you're occupying both sides of the tire at the same time, so neither of them really get what they want. But when you lean the bike over more, and essentially what you do is you move your contact patch from the middle to one side. So one edge of the contact patch is there, the other edge is there, but essentially the whole contact patch has moved to the side now. This eliminates the other side from having anything to do with what's happening. So because we've leaned over and we've removed this side of the tire from having contact, this side of the tire finally gets to go the way it wanted to go all the time anyway. And that's why it works. Okay, so when you're on the motorcycle and you want a straight line, well then upright satisfies that need perfectly. But when we need it to change direction, whether to go left or right, you don't steer a motorcycle, okay? What you do is you make an input to try and make it lean, and that then ends up being the main question. How do we make a motorcycle lean over? And by understanding how bikes work better, you can tune in your understanding of what does the bike need to do to carry out whatever it is I'd like it to do, and therefore what do I need to do to the bike to get that result. It's very, very simple. And the good news is there's actually only two ways. There's lots of potential ways. People often discuss how we can get a bike to lean over, and there's loads of ideas out there. What I find is, if we do experiments that test different ideas out, nothing wrong with an idea is fine, absolutely perfect, absolutely fine. But the idea might be okay, but if we actually try and do stuff, if we actually try and test the idea out, we might find that the idea in principle was okay, but the reality of the evidence suggests to us that that idea, while sounded plausible, actually in the light of the experiment doesn't work. And if we can do that with all of these different stories and mistaken beliefs that people have in relation to how bikes work, you'll end up with a very small list of things that actually work, rather than a large list of things that could work. Okay, and that just simplifies your efforts. It makes the decision to go left and right much, much easier. And so the next part of this little video, I'm going to go out and just experiment with the two ways you can change direction on a bike. I've only found two, okay? Very separate, both work, but one is definitely easier to use than the other. So I'm going to show you both, and it gives you a bit of an idea as to what the story is. Okay, I've learned my first lesson with this new mic. It's a good mic, but it's better because it's so powerful. It's better if I keep my visor open. So, okay, got an idea. So, what I'm going to try and do is just give you this information. So, once again, sitting on the bike, I'm going to go out, try and get the bike in probably 4th, 5th gear, so I can leave the handlebars alone. And what I'm going to try and do towards the camera, I'll just try and move my upper body to one side and see if the bike goes that way. Okay, but I'll have the handlebars left alone. And then what I'll do is I'll experiment with not having the weight on the inside weight peg to see if that changes anything. So I can just eliminate that as something that's actually given the input versus something that's comfortable but doesn't really make any difference. So I can have the peg or not have the peg. I'm interested to know, does my position over here, does that change its value? Does its value change when I don't have the peg? Then what I'll do is I'll go on to moving the handlebars, making an input here versus here, and hopefully you can see all this kind of stuff. So let me just see if this is a bit clearer. Of course, wind noise is the next problem. We'll see. So let me just get it going. Okay, now let's see what we've got. Right then. So I'll just get it down here. Head towards camera. Leaving it alone. Hands off the handlebars, move my body to the inside. Yeah, there we go. So I now have the bike leaned over with just my upper body. Remove the peg. Yeah, I'm still able to do it. So I've still got the bike leaned over, peg back, no peg. I can still do it either way. Okay, so this is very clear. I can stop it, lean in, or I can add more lean. Stop it, lean in, or I can add more lean. Easy. Okay? Hands on the handlebars, input on the handlebar, can add more lean, no problem. Barely touching it, stop. Add more lean, barely touching it, swap over, use the other hand if I want to. Yep, sound, make the input, tips over, nice and simple. This is definitely easier. This is so much easier than using body position. So I can use body position, but it's harder work. Gotta work harder. Alright? Simple. Handlebars are definitely easier. So hopefully that can give you an idea of the logic behind doing these little experiments, so that we give credit to the advice that leads us to a better input control, fine. But at the same time we realise that whilst we understand why somebody might have said weight the peg or whatever, if we find it doesn't actually add value, then we can just eliminate it from our thought process. Nice and simple. That's the idea. I hope this helps. Remember to have a look at i2imca.com. We have a YouTube channel, we've got a Facebook page, and at the same time this stuff is helpful, but you can't beat having an environment where you can practice this stuff. And on the Machine Control 1 and 2 in particular, we do this type of stuff a lot. So yeah, hope that helps, and hopefully this mic has done the job for you, made the quality of the sound just a bit better. Okay, thanks.